I'm far from being back to full health. And for everyone who saw yesterday's video and wished me get well soon, thank you so much. I wasn't planning on recording anything else this week, but today is a beautiful day, and we don't get many of those in England, so I figured if I'm going to try and go for a walk, I may as well try and record a video. So I've quickly downloaded a few clips from X and TikTok, which I've watched on the way here. I'll try and cobble something together. But whereas usually, if I'm doing a video with lots of different clips in it, I'll say it's people being terrible, or like yesterday, the dregs of the internet. Today's is different. These are people I just find confusing. We'll start with the worst. A woman who I've featured on this channel a few times before, and I say woman, but she identifies as a non-binary they-them, which, in my opinion, just means attention-seeking half-wit. She used to be a teaching assistant, but got sacked when it transpired she'd been posting TikToks encouraging young children to go onto puberty blockers. And I can only assume the reason she was doing this was to make young children as confused as she clearly is. Now, I keep saying she, but I'm a straight man. However, if someone put a gun to my head and said, Danny, either you have to have sex with that thing, or just for one night only, play for the other team, I'd say, please, find me a good-looking man. The clip that's coming up originally is around 2.5 minutes long. I'm only going to play 30 seconds of it because, trust me, it's painful. If you can get through 30 seconds without being sick in your own mouth, you're doing very well. And also, on my Facebook page, I'm listed as a comedian. Now, I'd never be arrogant enough to say what I do is comedy, but there isn't the option for angry middle-aged man walking around a nature reserve shouting at his mobile phone. But this individual thinks what they are doing is actually funny. Strap yourselves in.
Yes, we had another gender adventure this week. I did. So my mom was really mad at me. Just wait a minute, okay? And normally when my mom's mad at me, she'll always use my dead name. Or she'll be like,
he, they, she, it, whatever the fuck you are, whatever the fuck your name is. But for the first time ever, she called me by my preferred name. I was shocked.
like, my mom never does that. Like, I cannot believe.
What's going on there? The thing I can't stop thinking about is that individual's mother, because she mentions her mother, interestingly not her father, because there's no way she's ever met her dad. I doubt her mother even knows who the father is. That individual was probably conceived with a proper back alley knee trembler. But her mother, someone carried that child for 9 months, gave birth to it, possibly breastfed it, but clothed it, fed it, took it to school, essentially gave that person a place in the world. And that's what it turned out like. I'm guessing that thing's mother, since it was old enough to walk, has spent her entire life pickled in gin and cursed with self-regret. And as that individual is American, I'd say that's perfect justification to reintroduce Roe v. Wade. Because if that thing's mother went to a state official and said, I want an abortion, and the official said, how old is the fetus? And the mother said, late 20s, but have a look at it. The official would say, let me get you a marksman, we'll sort that out for you. Next up, we'll see a couple. Now, both of these people are female, but one of them identifies as a trans man and has clearly been taking testosterone because she has the facial hair of a 13-year-old boy. They're going to take their time to explain their relationship to the rest of us.
Men are men and you're now dating a man, then you're straight, right? This is a great question because it's actually a common misconception.
Oh yeah, we get this all the time. We are always here for positive education.
To start, sex and gender are different things. Two different things. You have the way you identify in your gender identity, and then you have your sexual orientation. While I'm dating a trans man, we are a couple who is straight passing.
We get that.
We get that.
We are well aware.
Yeah, we can recognize that. However, my sexual orientation is still queer, and his sexual orientation is still queer. So while we may be in a straight-passing relationship, neither of us are straight.
Yes. Just to kind of echo that, yes, identify as a trans male. They identify as non-binary and pan, or queer.
Hope that clears it up, but like also we do appreciate the questions when like they're genuinely curious, right? Like there's positive intent and then there's like malicious intent when asking questions. So this is great. Okay, should we go pick up the kiddo? Where am I?
Again, what the fuck is going on there? They're both females, but one of their opening arguments is that sex and gender aren't the same thing. And in a way I agree, because gender is about characteristics, but my sex is male, my gender is I'm a man. But for the gender ideology lot, if they admitted that sex and gender could be connected, their entire house of cards would come crumbling down. Now, the woman that looks like a woman starts off by saying that she's been asked, "You're dating a man now, are you straight?" So we can assume in the past she's been in relationships with women. She still is in a relationship with a woman, just a rather confused one. We don't know if the woman who identifies as a man has had bottom surgery because we can't see her left arm. When a woman, often a young woman who just has autism and has been misdiagnosed, has a fake penis made, they take a skin graft from the woman's left arm and they end up looking like a burns victim. It is barbaric. But when it comes to sexuality, they describe their sexuality as being queer. Now, you're both women. Why can't you just be lesbians? And of course we know why, because that's not fashionable enough anymore. And queer in the UK used to be a derogatory term for gay men. On a Saturday night, people would say, "Shall we go into that pub?" And get the reply, "No, it's full of queers." But now it just means, pay me attention. When I post these videos, I often get comments from lesbians, gay men and bisexual people. And if that's you, can you help me out with something? Because here in the UK, many of my homosexual and bisexual friends are actively rejecting the term queer because it's become so vague and it's usually used by people who are incredibly narcissistic. As we saw there, by the woman who looks like a woman, obviously has to be non-binary and go by they, them pronouns and is pansexual. Is it just a fucking box-ticking exercise? However, as long as they're happy, there isn't really an issue. Save for the last line of the clip that they've got to go and pick kiddo up. They've got a child. Obviously, neither of them is the father. And maybe they are very loving, compassionate parents, but it wouldn't surprise me that when that child hits puberty, that they'll be the type of kid to walk into a shopping mall with an assault rifle and get themselves on the news. A few weeks ago, there was a clip that went viral, which I used on this channel, of a new gender identity called Gender Season. People who believe their gender changes in accordance with the season, so basically, wherever the Earth is on its orbit around the sun affects how masculine or feminine they are. So this is the latest thing to take off. Here's a clip of a woman explaining how it affects her. I'll warn you, this is slow and very drawn out, but we need to hear everything she has to say.
If you're gender fluid, please keep watching and please comment your seasons with correlating to gender, because my seasons tend to go summer, spring, I'm more feminine and a little bit androgynous, and then fall, I'm like pretty androgynous, and then winter is like androgynous or masculine. And there's still like a mix in there. Like right now it's summer and I feel a little bit masc right now. It's just hard for me to feel masc in the, like, I think I repress it a little bit sometimes. Like I'm not like always presenting femme in the summer just because I can't present masc, like that would just kill me. But like sometimes I do end up putting on some femme outfit even when I'm feeling masc, because I don't want to like suffer in the heat, and I hate like how I look in like the only way I can dress masc that makes me not dysphoric is like looking like Adam Sandler. And
when it comes to the whole gender fluid thing, in a way, I think it's something we all experience. We can all be more masculine or more feminine depending on where we are and what we're doing. In the same way that our behaviour changes depending on the situation. I say the word fuck an extraordinary amount of time. I wouldn't say it if I was meeting the Pope. So anyway, this young woman is more feminine in spring and summer, androgynous in fall or autumn, as we say here in the UK, and then more masculine in winter. Why could that be? So when it's spring and summer, when the sun's out, she's more feminine. Does that mean she wears skirts, maybe strappy tops and such like? Then when it gets to autumn and starts to get a bit cooler, more androgynous, so what are we saying? Trousers, long sleeve shirts, and then in winter, more masculine. So trousers all the time and a jumper or sweater if you're watching in the New World. Love, your gender is not changing with the seasons. You're dressing in accordance with the fucking weather. If there was 6 feet of snow today, I wouldn't be walking around here in a t-shirt. So this is what I find confusing. Does she not observe other females throughout the year and notice they're doing pretty much the same as she does? Now, in July, the wife and I are off to Italy where it will be murderously hot. I'm not planning on taking a 3-piece suit and an Arctic jacket just in case I need to feel really manly. And if I'm walking around in a vest, I won't think, oh my God, I've become a woman. What I do think is happening here is, once again, this is someone who is so devoid of personality that she needs to create a label to try and make herself feel interesting. How fucking tragic is that? And now the final clip. This one is very, very unusual.
I just gotta ask, who's cosplaying? See, cosplaying is when you dress up as something that you aren't or someone you aren't. I am a Muslim woman. I wear what a Muslim woman wears. I dress like that. So, who's cosplaying here? I think you need to learn the words that you're trying to use because they ain't working for you.
That gentleman is extremely condescending when explaining what cosplaying is. Yes, it's dressing up as something that you are not. But his statement that he is a woman and he is a Muslim. Can he honestly believe that? I am utterly baffled on what he hopes to gain from making such a ridiculous statement. Because if he really believes he's a Muslim woman, I would advise he books himself on a flight to Afghanistan where he can have a chat with the Taliban. However, I'd also advise only book that ticket one way, because what they find of him afterwards will be coming back in the hold. That's the end of this video, and I feel like shit. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as ever, thanks for watching. Back to 100... Oh, this is going to be fun. Worst. I featured this woman on the channel before. She's... I fucked it up. She's the reason the aliens won't talk to us. So they start off by making the argument about... So I haven't got any notes. I don't know what I'm fucking doing. As long as... Before I go, a few people were asking yesterday if the room I was recording in yesterday, the spare room, the Wednesday room, if that's my daughter's bedroom. If I had a daughter, which I don't, I wouldn't be broadcasting her bedroom all over the internet. That is genuinely the spare room in the house inhabited by 2 grown adults. Also, for all the married men out there, the married men in straight relationships, the spare room is also where all my stuff is. Over the last few years, we've had the entire house renovated. New doors, windows, central heating, wiring, plastering, flooring. There's just the kitchen left to do. And you spend a lot of time in your house, so why shouldn't it be fun? So our rooms are all themed. The spare room is the Wednesday room, because that's my favourite TV show. The wife's favourite movie is Ghostbusters, so the main bedroom is the Ghostbusters room. The living room is Stranger Things. The hallway is the Hall of Fame with all our memorabilia. The bathroom is the Canadian comedy Schitt's Creek. And when we finally get the kitchen done later this year, it will be dedicated to A Nightmare on Elm Street. My name is Danny, and I am 46.